myself, and I will wish you well.
Thanks, Mike.
Right, thank you, Mike, and happy Friday to everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today as part of this new AI training series. As we all know, AI changes so quickly, and for businesses, that creates opportunities and risks. But used well, it can really help us work faster, produce better output, improve our reporting, make more informed decisions, and reduce some of the day-to-day repetitive work that we all have. Obviously, it needs to be used safely and confidently with clear boundaries, which your IT support team can help you with. And it's not just about saving time or improving quality. It really is a combination of both those things that will make the biggest impact on how we operate our modern businesses. By passing over repetitive tasks to AI tools, we don't just reclaim several hours every single week. We also create time that we can reinvest into better decision making and higher quality work. So rather than simply just keeping on top of your inbox, which seems quite a struggle sometimes. So less rework, smoother day-to-day experiences for all of us. And this will have a direct impact on productivity and our job satisfaction. Because if I can get rid of those boring, repetitive tasks every day, I can find more exciting things to do instead. So today is all about practical ways to improve how your business runs with AI, and how to use it safely. Across this series of 6 sessions, we're going to be covering all sorts of different topics. Today will be about everyday productivity and time-saving tools. We'll have a session on AI, cybersecurity and awareness, AI for sales, marketing and customer engagement. We'll have a session on prompt engineering and how to get the best out of the AI tools, understanding the landscape and which tools are best because there's so many to choose from, and a session on customer support and service delivery. So you can come to all of them or send different colleagues to one or several. That's absolutely fine. These are live training sessions. Please do feel free to type a question in. I'll happily ask our trainer the question for you, and we'll try and ask them as we go along. Thank you to all your IT support who invited you along to this. They can help you, as I mentioned, with any security issues that you have and getting it locked down so that you use AI safely in your work environment. And if you want any further one-to-one training, which is more specialised to your business, feel free to ask them for that too. Right, so that's the intro done. Today, we've got a fantastic trainer. He specialises in AI, and it's Jonathan Pollinger. He has trained thousands of professionals over hundreds of different workshops. He's British Computer Society accredited in AI. He's CompTII trained, and he's a regular AI commentator on BBC local radio. He's also interestingly ranked in the top 0.1% of ChatGPT users. So you're going to learn from somebody who's deeply rooted in using these tools, not just talking about them. So hopefully you're going to learn some really practical tips today. And Jonathan, I'll hand over to you. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Cassandra. Great to be here today. So today I'm going to take you through 3 practical use cases using Copilot Premium. So that's an important point. So this is the licensed version of Copilot, the paid version, if you like. But before then, a very important setting to show you, whether you're on the free version, now known as standard Copilot, or the premium version of Copilot. Now, what this does is enable you to make Copilot work for your organization and directly for you. So in other words, you can tailor Copilot as your own personal expert assistant to your own requirements. So for example, you can instruct it exactly how you'd like it to respond. So you can get rid of all of those awful AI telltale signs that you see all over LinkedIn. You can really get it to sound like you, or why not go a step further and actually make it sound like a better version of you. So the choice is yours. So by setting these instructions, known as custom instructions, that I'll show you any second, it also allows for consistency across your organization if everybody is using the same or very similar custom instructions. And it allows for a better output quality. One of the business benefits that Cassandra mentioned earlier there. So it really does help up your quality of any responses that you receive in terms of answers or any content that you create. And it's a big time saver because you could also think of custom instructions as standing instructions because they are there and apply across all of your prompts. So you don't have to enter the same information every time. So, for example, I was literally doing a training session yesterday, and somebody every time was inputting their brand colors into the prompt whenever they had to create some graphics or images or icons or anything like that. But you don't need to do that every time. You can just put that in custom instructions once, and you are then set in terms of consistent branding across your organization. So, as luck would have it, or or not, Microsoft have actually updated Copilot literally overnight. So it's gone through a redesign since yesterday. So things have moved around a little bit, but we will try and find our way. And this setting is so important that I would literally encourage you to do this. We'll be finishing at 1 o'clock, so I'd encourage you to do this by about 1:30 today. It is that important. So here we go. So you set you click your ellipsis, select the ellipsis at the top here, and then you drop down to settings. It's now changed to chat settings, so you need these chat settings here. You select that and then you go to personalization on the left-hand side. You've got a number of different options here, but personalization is the one that we're interested in. And you'll see that we have custom instructions at the top here. So you need to edit this. So you can click on this edit link and then you can fill in the instructions with a little brief in terms of who you are. You can see that I've populated mine here and the sort of activities I'm going to be working on and those that I would like Copilot, my expert assistant, to help me with. So you can see I've got a few mentioned there. And then I get into how I would like Copilot to respond. So this may differ slightly for everybody's requirements. I'm saying sort of practical, be direct. This third section here, very important because this will help mitigate against hallucinations. So hallucinations is the definitely not ability, but tendency, shall we say, on occasion for AI to make stuff up. So you can actually tell it not to make stuff up. And that does help reduce the amount of hallucinations so that you can see that I've done that there. You can also ask when it's carrying out research and that sort of thing to produce an evidence table in your responses. And that way you can check the sources, the facts, and importantly, the confidence level that AI has, that Copilot has on the accuracy of the information. So very important so that you can make that judgment whether you need to follow up the citations and sources there. Some other bits and pieces, so particularly around style. So I've got UK English there and things around formatting, tone, and so on. And then all those dreaded AI phrases that we're probably all sick of, like game changer and deep dive and elevate and terms like that. So you can literally say don't use any of those terms and perhaps avoid jargon if you're prone to do that in your profession. And then finally, an extra bit in here around prompting. So you can actually ask, prompting being the instructions or the questions or requests that you give AI. So you can ask Copilot to help you with that. And so I've actually given it a framework here. So when I ask for some help with prompting, it's going to actually use this framework to produce a really good prompt that I can then use to create some content or obtain a response. In addition to that, Microsoft have helpfully put some options here. So if, for example, you wanted to use clear and simple language, which I kind of pretty much said above, but if I click on that one, you'll see that it's extrapolated, if we just scroll back down again, into a whole sentence. So we've got here, use plain language that's easy to understand, skip acronyms or specialized terms unless the audience is familiar with them. So I'm just going to take that out. But if you need a bit of extra assistance or you like the look of any of these, then you can just click on those to add them in, and you can refresh them there to get some others there. If, for example, you want your AI to speak with empathy or even to be more poetic. So there we go. Some different options. So I've got a template for this, and if you would like to approach your IT support on this, they will happily give you the template to help you complete your custom instructions. And just a few final things. Obviously, when you're done, you can click Save Instructions. I haven't actually made any changes apart from adding something and deleting it, but just to be sure, I'll click Save Instructions there. And then you also want to make sure that it is actually toggled on, and then you're in business. So all of those custom instructions will tailor AI to your requirements and will essentially be standing instructions throughout all of your prompts. And this applies to all versions of Copilot, whether you've got the standard version or premium version. So now going to move on to three case studies, use cases. So three sort of tasks that Copilot can help with. But before we do that, just going to check in with Cassandra to see if we've got any questions on setting up custom instructions.
Thanks so much, Jonathan. Yeah, actually, just one. Can you set up different instructions for different departments? So I guess if you've got different areas in the
Yep.
business, or is it just one set of instructions for the whole company?
It's actually the opposite of that. So it is on an individual level. So whilst you could organize it for a department or a company in terms of circulating, say, a particular template, it is up to the individual to set up those custom instructions. So in other words, you can't like set up one at admin level and then it sort of flows out throughout the whole department or company. So each person is responsible for doing that. But obviously, for consistency purposes, as you're suggesting, it's a really good idea, probably by department level, or if you're a smaller business, by organizational level, that you're all working off the same page with the same instructions. Yeah.
Thank you. And somebody's actually just asked, how can
Sure.
we get a copy of the template?
Yeah, if you just ask your IT support, so whoever is your
Who has
IT
invited you to
support,
this meeting? Yeah,
exactly, then they'll provide that for you. Yeah.
fantastic.
Uh, and
Thank you.
just one final point. So that was on Copilot, but actually, just for your information, if you're, and as Cassandra says, in another session, we'll be looking at different tools. But pretty much, as far as I know, without exception, certainly Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, they all also have custom instructions. So if you're using any of those tools, you would be advised to go through that same process.
Brilliant.
Okay, so let's move on now to Excel. So within a lot of, if not all of them, the apps within Microsoft, so within Microsoft 365, Copilot is pretty much embedded, which makes it really useful to work on those files and those tasks that you are literally working on every day. So this includes the big three: Excel, PowerPoint for your slides, Word for your documents, Excel for your data. It's also directly embedded into Outlook for crafting your emails, Teams, and even quite usefully apps like OneDrive as well. So elsewhere, and perhaps we'll do this on we will almost certainly do it in another session. We will go through how to create a document, an Excel spreadsheet or workbook, and a slide deck from scratch. And there are some pretty sophisticated ways of doing that, drawing in data and information and producing really good quality, professional looking files. So that's for another day. Today, we're actually looking at editing when you've got an existing spreadsheet. So this is just completely fictitious data that we've got on here. So we've got some information around products, sales. We've got a monthly summary, some card transactions in there. And what I'm going to do is going to put in a prompt and ask it for some insights. So going to say, can you produce some insights on this data and highlight, put in a bit of extra here, highlight any outliers. So let's give that a try. Now, before I fire that, in fact, whilst it's doing it, because it's going to take a bit of time. So I'm just going to fire that off. And one thing that you can now do within most of the apps, and indeed the main chat app as well, which we'll get onto, is that you can select the model. So up here, you'll see that we are using Opus 4.8, which was released yesterday. So Microsoft pretty swift off the mark. That following Anthropic's release of Opus 4.8 in Claude, it's now directly available, as you can see in Excel. And there are some other options here. We've got Auto, which is generally a bad option. We'll cover that another time. And we've got the latest ChatGPT or GPT 5.5 model from OpenAI. And it's really to sort of show you how fast things move in AI, because this was literally Wednesday's model or even Thursday's model. This is today's model. And in the space of that same time, Copilot has also gone through a redesign as well, as I mentioned earlier. So it's actually just come through with a whole bunch of questions. So I'm just going to say go with defaults to save some time there. So I'm just going to say go with defaults, and that's going to work away there. Whilst it's doing that, we can probably have a look at a few other things. So you can see it's working away, which is nice. You can see its progress there. So this is actually a sheet as part of this workbook, that an executive summary that was created in exactly this way, by just giving it a plain English instruction to create an executive summary based on the sales data that we saw briefly earlier. And now it's just automatically flicked away from that, because it is producing in front of our eyes a separate sheet according to my instructions, providing insights and highlighting any outliers. So you can see it putting that together. So it's literally doing work in front of us. I'm just going to see if I can force it just to go back and have another look at the exec summary. So you can see this is, for leadership, this is great, because you've got some key sort of highlighted figures here. You've got top 5 products by revenue, revenue by region, some key insights for decision making, which is the sort of thing that leaders want. Monthly revenue trend, even promo code performance. Nice little pie chart there, revenue by region, and even some recommended actions along with a graph. So the main point being, sort of using this as an example and the analysis that it's putting together here, is that whilst it kind of like helps to know formulas, you don't need to know formulas as such anymore. So you just need plain English, and use that to give instructions, and you can really then make a lot of use of your data. So you can extract data, provide insights that can help you support any decisions that you have to make within the business. And worth kind of like pointing out that there's probably, if you know your business is anything like the businesses that I have trained, you will have data that you just don't really use. Businesses have tons and tons of data, whether that's around finances, whether that's around recruitment, sales, HR. Businesses have customers, of course, but businesses have tons and tons of data. So this is now a really good way that you can make use of that data. So here we go. It's not even completed yet, just about by the look of it, but you can see it sort of starting to take shape. So we got card transactions here, insights and data quality review. We got some quick KPIs. We've got currency mix, data quality flags. So it's picked up some issues here because, as you probably spotted, the sheet was called messy data. And then we've got merchants by net spend. We've got some spending outliers because we asked from outliers, transaction outliers. We got transactions by currency and so on. And then a final graph down there. And what's interesting is that you can sort of see the quality of this because it did really want to confirm what I was actually after by asking these qualifying questions here. And also you can see it's now completed. That it's gone through 17 methodical steps to curate this sheet. And you can actually see its methodology here, or sometimes known as chain of thought. So the KPIs that we saw, the spending outliers, and if you're interested in formulas, you can actually see the formulas that it's used to curate this content. And it continues in the same vein through key insights and so on. So nice that be able to work in the sidebar and actually make real changes on the sheet here. Now, this is a huge step up because it was only like about 6 weeks ago that I was running workshops on Copilot in Excel. And quite frankly, the delegates were underwhelmed, and I was pretty underwhelmed as well, because you could kind of like mess around in the sidebar here, and you could do maybe a few summaries and that sort of thing, but it wouldn't actually do any work at all on the sheet. It wouldn't create a separate sheet like that. Other examples, you could like get it to add conditional formatting or something like that, and obvious things like totaling up a column, let's say. But none of that was possible. It just kind of like messed around and did a few jobs tinkering around the edge in the sidebar here. So just in the space of a few weeks, we've now got a fully functioning proper expert assistant, to use that phrase. And we've got access to the very latest, very, very smart reasoning models, and we'll cover that more, those models when we look at the different tools in another session. But great that within Copilot you have got access to both OpenAI technology and technology from Anthropic as well. So I think, just one more thing. I'll come to Cassandra a second for questions, but just one more thing because it's actually here from the last bit of work I did on here. So I did spot, going back to that executive summary, that this wasn't populated correctly. It kind of like lost connection with the data on the product sheet. So what I did was, you can probably see here, is the prompt somehow disappeared there. But basically it sorted it out. So as you can see here, the broken cells containing ref formulas had lost their source reference entirely. I rebuilt them to pull them from your product revenue sheet. So it literally kind of like solved a problem with the data on the sheet and got all the information back, as you can see here, and then made it presentable, explained how the formulas worked, and did a nice little summary there for me, and quite rightly pointed out that the information there is dependent on the information in the product revenue sheet. So that does need to be, quite rightly, does need to be maintained because it's pulling the data from there. So just another example of a little job that Excel can do for you directly within your workbook and spreadsheets. So we're just going over to Cassandra. Any questions on Copilot within Excel come through, Cassandra?
Thanks, Jonathan. Well, since I last saw this is already improved. Like you say, to be able to build that whole
Yeah,
report for you on a new tab is just amazing. I have actually got 3 questions, so I'll try and be quick.
sure.
First one was, I might need to refer this to IT support for this lady. They are a charity and they want to know
Yes,
if they don't have the extra license,
yes.
would they be able to do this on a charity license? So
That again, you're right. I'll have to defer to IT from
I,
that. I
yeah,
don't
I
know
did
anything
think
about
that.
charities and licensing, I'm afraid. But all I can say is that it's definitely not available on the standard version. So you would need a license of
Yeah.
an equivalent to the premium license, essentially.
Yeah, so definitely check with your IT support because they will deal with all your
Yes.
licensing for you. So that's great. Thank you very much. The next one is, can it check or can it make these reports from data on different tabs or even different workbooks, or does it all have to be on one sheet and then you tell it to
Okay.
look at this one sheet?
So if you're editing, I think it is on one sheet. However, the good news, which we will, I'll make a note to make sure that we do demo that. If you create an Excel workbook from scratch using, getting a bit specific now, but using Excel agent, then yes, it will create multiple sheets within the workbook. So I did an example the other day where I pointed Excel agent at a website, a training company website, as it happens, and got it to extract all the information on AI courses, and summarize that and put down how much they cost and the dates and all that kind of like data and information essentially. And yes, it populated it into different tabs, into different um, uh,
Excellent.
spreadsheets. So I think the answer is,
Yeah.
broadly speaking, the answer is yes from new. No, as far as I know. I must admit I haven't actually tried it, but I'm pretty sure single
Okay.
spreadsheet if you're editing.
Yeah. Thank you. And the last one is there a quick way to check that the information created is correct?
Yeah, no, that's a really good one. So again, going back, and sounds like you're a bit of an Excel whiz, Cassandra. You probably might have spotted errors in the past when using Copilot. Yeah, not surprised you're not in there. But that is something that's like massively improved. So this is why it's like helpful to know formulas and helpful that it does put in the reasoning here. So I would suggest that you kind of like check its reasoning to make sure it's basically gone about the work in the right way. So that's going to give you a clue as to whether it's accurate or not. And then maybe check one or two of the results. I
So
mean,
sort of common sense checking it.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
realistically, you can't check everything, can you? Because otherwise, it kind of, you might as well do it yourself anyway. But I think if you just sort of pick a small sample and check the reasoning, that should confirm it. And also going back to the previous thing I was explaining around custom instructions, that will help because you've literally instructed it in so many words not to make stuff up. And so that if it follows your instructions, it should help. Yeah.
Oh, I said I had 3, but now I've got a couple more. Sorry.
Let's
Hope if
just
we can
let's just
get,
take one more because time is
yeah,
moving on. So yeah.
we take this one. How does this work when it comes to data protection or GDPR? Basically, AI having access to this data, but obviously you get your
Yep.
IT person to lock this down and not to use it for learning.
Yeah, so I can say a little bit about that for the technical side of it. Yes, totally speak to your IT on that. However, I can tell you, in fact, I can even demonstrate that Copilot has full enterprise data protection, as you can see from this shield here. And for the person and everybody else interested in that, a simple thing that you could do is go to the main chat app, which is where we are now. So just like icon there. So the chat app on Windows desktop, and hit this shield here, and then go to the link, and you get a one pager then that is in nice non-technical language that explains exactly what enterprise data protection means. So obviously we haven't got time to go through this in detail, but I'll just sort of pull out a couple of points. One directly relevant to the question is your prompts, including any work content you add to the prompts, in other words, your conversations and Copilot's responses, aren't used to train foundation models. So there you go, in black and white. And also your chat data is encrypted. Lots more around that. And if you're in IT or super geeky, then you might want to click on that, because then and these others, and then it does get into a bit technical kind of speak and into more details. But as part and parcel of Copilot, it's got full enterprise data protection. Technically, it's got exactly the same protection, similar protections to Excel, Word, and everything else that you've been using for years anyway. And I assume people have been happy to put customer and financial data into those. But it's got additional protections as well. But I would say, in terms of GDPR, just as a total cover off, to anonymize data where possible. When I say customer data, I mean anonymized customer data. So you don't want to be putting in customer names and addresses. You don't want to be putting in things like payment card numbers, for example. So it's just being sensible about it, as you would with data and any tool. But literally, by default, Copilot Premium includes enterprise data protection.
Thank you.
Okay,
That
so
I'll leave
just
the
sort of
other questions for later. Yeah, because there's quite a few
yeah,
security
see if we'll
questions
tell you what, we
coming
should
up.
be able to fit in them in at the end. So I'm
Yes.
kind of like thinking, hopefully we can get through the next two demos, like 10 minutes
Thank you.
each, and then we'll have 10 minutes for questions at the end. So let's do that.
Thanks, John.
Okay, so next up, we have Teams and Copilot within Teams, specifically for meetings. And this kind of, I guess it's not really a very glamorous one, but do you know what? I would probably I'd definitely rank it in the top three, possibly even in the number one spot for use case, because time and time again, only this morning, I literally had a call at 8 o'clock with some positive feedback on this feature. Because I think the reason is people are just having Teams meetings all the time. And so this is a very valuable feature. So it reduces meeting admin, helps you carry out follow through in terms of actions. It makes people accountable, as we'll see. And can overall can basically save time and admin. So what we're looking at here is a training session that I had yesterday, as you can see from the date. And this is what you get when you click the recap button, which you've probably done if you've ever been an organizer of a meeting, in either in Calendar or in your Teams app. So you click the recap button and you can see that we've got the recording here, which has been the case for quite a few years now, and also things like attendance. But what's new is Copilot features. So first of all, on the right-hand side here, we've got meeting notes. So these are notes of the meeting. You can see it's helpfully split into different paragraphs with timestamps against them here. And we have got follow-up tasks. So in terms of tasks that have been given in the meeting, that's really useful. You can see we got a couple of names against these tasks. So when you have this was a training session, so a little bit different. But when you have a meeting that with colleagues that you've agreed a whole bunch of things to do, and people have actions, then this is great for your next meeting, because you can come back and you can say, oh, have you done X, Y, Z? Because it is in black and white that you've agreed to do X, Y, Z in the actions in the follow-up tasks here. But even better than that, that is useful. That's a basic summary and is useful in its own right. But there are some other really useful features here as well. So you've got an audio recap. So for something like this, it's ideal because this is it probably tells us somewhere, probably about 7 hours altogether. So we've got like yeah, we've got a 9 till 1 there, and we've got a 1 till 4 approximately. So that's a lot of content to wade through, and probably no one, in all honesty, is going to have the time to click that play button for a recap, or if you've missed the session. But if you go for audio recap, it doesn't just do a word for word transcript recap, but it's a recap. So it just pulls out the key points. So if you're a fan of having the earbuds in and listening to content and you want to save time, then doing the audio recap is a really handy thing to do. This is all, by the way, this is all premium, just to remind you. So you do need the premium licenses for this feature. Or actually, there is a workaround. There is a kind of separate Teams premium. So if you didn't want to go all in on AI, or perhaps you already have Teams premium, then you can access this. But once again, check with your IT on the licensing issues. But the final feature on here, which is great, and I've just started to use this, is custom summary. So if we go into here, you get a number of different summaries. And in fact, it started work straight away and is creating an executive report. So, and bingo, here we go. So this is a report specifically aimed at leadership here. We got we've got a sort of introduction there. We got some key updates. We got all the details of the meeting as we start to get into the training here, fundamentals and concepts and so on. So really handy, a customized report. So you get this is a pre-built one from Microsoft, and there's others as well, like speaker summary. But interestingly, you can create your own. So I've actually created one called LinkedIn posts. So, and I'm going to use this because there is a lot of knowledge heavy content, as you might imagine, in a training session. So I can repurpose this content just with a single button click now. And what this is going to do is create a whole bunch of LinkedIn content for me. So I can just literally copy and paste the contents of the post, as we'll see shortly, and here we go, and use that for LinkedIn. So it started off with an intro. Because it's going on to LinkedIn, it's excluded confidentiality details. It suggests that I check some certain bits and pieces there that don't reveal confidential things. And then we've got our post. So LinkedIn post option 1 around thought leadership, and then my thoughts, because obviously it was me talking during the meeting. And what do we got here? Let's just have a look. Difference between people getting value from AI and those struggling with it often comes down to how they use it, not which tool they use, and so on. So we got post number 1. We got some practical tips in post number 2 there. This looks as though it's around prompting. We got post number 3, personal reflection post. And there we go. So it's basically generated 3 posts off the back of that training. But that's just for me. In custom summary here, it's entirely up to you. If you click on create template, what sort of review, custom review or report or notes, whatever you want to call it, perhaps summary is the best word that you want. So you can literally describe the sort of format, layout, content that you want to build as a result of your Teams meeting, and then give it instructions. It has the template, and then you can just go in after any meeting and apply that template. But from a default perspective, you do get this one. You get the speakers one, and you get the executive report, which is rather useful. So perhaps some features. Well, to highlight, as I said, possibly the number one feature of Copilot, and that is AI-generated summary following meetings complete with actions, but also perhaps a few Nice to have bells and whistles, perhaps is a disparaging term, but some, let's say, some useful additional features to Copilot in Teams that you can use following your meetings. So, any questions come in on that one, Cassandra, Copilot in Teams?
For that one, I have got a couple of Excel ones I'll come to at the end. But for this
Sure.
topic, yes, I've got a question about Teams. It's interesting. We need a legal opinion on this, probably
All
rather
right,
than a
okay.
training one. But it's
Uh-oh.
basically saying, is the recording function in basic Copilot, and do we know about the data protection / GDPR situation if you're recording a confidential or governance meeting? I mean, I know everybody knows there is a notification, isn't there, that says this is being recorded.
That's right.
But I don't know about is it available in
Yeah.
basic, and are there any other precautions around
Okay, so there's a number of,
recording?
yeah, there's a number of separate things there. So you do get recording and transcription. That's not really anything to do with Copilot. So that's a basic function of standard Teams. However, you don't actually need the recording. So if somebody was concerned about GDPR, and I know that in certain HR situations, for example, they don't want the recording switched on, then in that case, you can just have the transcription, because all of this content is actually created from the transcription. The transcription is the key, not the recording. They are related, because if you fire off the recording, the transcription automatically follows, but you can just run the transcription to get the Copilot functionality. And by the way, that does actually include during the meeting as well. So obviously this is post meeting, but during the meeting you can do something like this. So you can fire up the sidebar. Obviously we're after the meeting now, so we can still interrogate the meeting and use Copilot here. But you can actually do this in real time during the meeting. So you can like pop out and make a phone call and then come back and say, have I been given any actions? Give me a brief summary. And as long as the transcript is running, then you're in business. Interestingly, and helpfully actually, if you fire up Copilot during the meeting to do something like get a recap in real time, then you're actually prompted to start the transcription if you haven't already. So because it's obviously going to need that to function. So hopefully that clarifies. So I think if like simple really, if somebody is concerned about GDPR, don't use the recording. You don't have to get the AI functionality.
For people taking manual notes, it's just a digital version, is it, of, people are taking notes or minutes in a meeting.
You probably are getting a bit legal on that in
Yeah.
terms of, I mean, that will probably fall under safekeeping of data under GDPR, that, kind of like don't leave the notes lying around when you're in the canteen, that sort of thing. And so it probably falls under those sort of that kind of
Thank you.
area. But I'm not a GDPR expert, so like you say, I might have to defer to legal on that specific one.
I think so. Thank you so much.
No problem. Okay, so let's go to the fourth use case then, which is a great one where you can sort of automate some regular or recurring tasks. So most of the time, and I would probably venture to suggest most of the people on this call, they're just using, which is fine because it's still really useful, but they're mainly using Copilot on a one-off as required kind of like basis. So with this feature that I'm about to show you, scheduled prompts, you can actually have Copilot working in the background whilst you're making a cup of coffee, having lunch, or in another meeting. So Copilot can be doing your work for you while you are doing other tasks. So let's see how this works then. So let's do a practical example. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to dictate a prompt because it's quicker. There's a little tip for you, by the way, rather than type post prompts, dictation's much better. So Copilot, can you find and list the best business network meetings to go to in the South Wales area over the next few months and include regular meetups and meetings, both formal and informal. That will do. So I've just dictated that prompt there, and I'm going to fire that off. So this might be something that you want to run on a regular basis to see if any new business network meetings have come up. So it's now going away and doing this task. There's another learning point for you here because it says here is a practical trainer ready shortlist because of my custom instructions and my conversations with Copilot. It knows that I am an AI trainer, so it's provided it in that format. It's tailored its response for me. And you can see the answers here. We've got some BNI going on, Cardiff Business Club, Chamber Wales, M4, Dragons of Newport, etc., etc. So what I can do now to run this on a regular basis is that I can, I think they might have changed something here. I did say, I knew this was going to catch me out because they changed it overnight. I might have to go to the bottom for this one. And previously, you could set this up both at the top and the bottom, but I'm hoping that it is now at the bottom rather than the top. So let's just see. Yes, it's now at the bottom. Okay, so you can see that we have got schedule this prompt. Let me just double check to make sure. There used to be a whole bunch of options. Oh, there we go. My mistake. Or maybe it just didn't come up because the prompt hadn't finished. That was probably it. So if we hover over the prompt at the top, we get another number of options here. And the one we're interested in is this clock symbol here for scheduling this prompt. And as you saw, you can also do this at the end of the response as well. So the rule here is quite straightforward. If you can run a prompt once and you're happy with the answer, so this is just an example. We've run the prompt, we're happy with the answer, then you can run it as often as you want for a year without you having to do anything. So you just click this clock here, and we've got the prompt here. You might want to tidy up the prompt a little bit, perhaps. We got a very easy to use calendar. So this isn't probably something that I want to run every week, is it? So it's probably going to be a monthly thing. So I can say monthly, run it on, say, the 30th every month at 1 o'clock. And then we've got it going for a year. And very helpfully for these recurring tasks that you set up, you get an email. So an email pops into your inbox. You can click that link and then it'll take you, I'll demo actually in a sec, it'll take you straight to the replies. So all I need to do now is click on save, and that is set up. So you can actually see we're now in the scheduled prompt management area, and it's just saving it there. It's now confirmed that it's active. And if I want to run it now, I can do that. I can change the schedule, so I could go back to weekly if I wanted to. I can switch it off or I can delete it. So to get to that management area, you go to the ellipsis here, the 3 dots, and then drop down to scheduled prompts. And there we go. We've got the listing here. So you can see that these are my current active tasks, active scheduled tasks. And here are some that I've played around with or have been completed. So this will give you a bit of a steer. You might get a bit of inspiration from the sort of things that you can do here. So what should be on my radar from emails last week? So this is kind of like a handy catch up that it runs for me. So this one is kind of an internet-based one, isn't it? Whereas, although it did search internally as well, but this one is purely internal because it's searching emails. This one is external, so provide the latest AI news, focusing on Copilot and ChatGPT, obviously something that I'm interested in. This one's similar. Please obtain the latest available new Copilot features. Interestingly, just a point for you here, you can actually run a prompt with researcher, which is a very powerful, again, we'll demo another day. I'll make a note of that. You can run a very powerful search and retrieval tool. It then performs analysis, very, very strong analysis, and then creates a very in-depth report for you. So I'm using Researcher on that one, and it's all just happening automatically in the background. Another one goes out and finds stats on the importance of AI training and qualifications for business success, and so on. So in your, obviously this is my domain, but in your domain, I'm sure you can think of some regular recurring tasks that you'd like to automate, and just fire and forget, basically, and then just check your inbox, and then go off and get the results. So speaking of which, if I just fire up Outlook now, and I'm just going to go into my other folder for confidentiality reasons. So just going to go into other now. We will have actually, we've got one here. Look, here's a fresh one. So we've got one here. Microsoft has successfully completed a prompt you scheduled. You can now review the following results and take any necessary steps. And there's the link. So this is emails. Again, for confidentiality reasons, I'm not going to click that one, but I will click this one. So this is latest Copilot features. So if I select that, then it's now going to go to that particular conversation. And I do believe this actually ran this morning. So it's now going to come back with the whole conversation. You can see it's run multiple times. There we go. You can see it's just run several times here. And then if we scroll to the bottom, it's still populating the conversation. You can see it's using Researcher, sort of doing in that one, 34 steps, still populating. And then I think we're done. So this is the latest one. We've got late 2005, 2026, and we've got a really in-depth report there that I can use these options on the left to go down and find out information about. So, talk about time saving, as Cassandra did in the intro. This would take me probably about 2 days, I'm kind of thinking, in the world of Google, because I'd have to go out and find 34 websites. I'd have to extract all of the relevant information, and then I'd have to organize it in this detailed report. Whereas this has taken me 0 time, literally, because it's just run in the background whilst I'm doing something else, and I just have to go in and pick it up when it's ready. So I think for your benefit, if you can start to think perhaps of some regular tasks that you'd like to automate, then I think you can see from that Copilot can certainly help you. So that's the end of the demos, and we've got 8 minutes to pick up on those questions, including those Excel ones that we had earlier. So perhaps should we kick off with those, Cassandra? I'll just stop sharing my screen a second.
Thanks, Jonathan. It's a lot. Good stuff there. So the first one is for the Excel one, can it use data from a CSV file, or does it have to be Excel?
So it has to be, well, in Excel, it has to be an Excel file. There's a couple of other prerequisites as well currently, although I believe they might be changing, where the data has to be in a table. And for Excel only, not PowerPoint or Word, it has to be saved in the cloud. Chances are it probably will be. But in other words, if you've got a spreadsheet that's on desktop, it's not going to work. It's not going to be able to do the things that we just did earlier. And data has to be in a table, but that's not really a big deal because you can easily there's an option to convert it into a table, so that's okay. Just reminded me on another point about the teams coming down the line. Is the ability to actually run Copilot without a transcript. I'm not sure how that's going to work technically, but I have read that they are working on that. So whilst I was totally correct in saying you do need to run the transcript to run Copilot in Teams, that might not always be the case in future. So just thought I'd flag that as it popped into my head.
Yeah. And then again, there's a couple of confidentiality ones, which are probably more legal questions than training questions,
I'll do my best.
to be fair to Jonathan. So one of them is, I know that your IT support can definitely fix this one because I've had this before. If I input confidential or sensitive information, I'm guessing this could be an HR team, what technical controls prevent other employees from discovering what I've put into Copilot? So if I want to find out my boss's salary, for example, can I search for that within my works
Yep.
Copilot?
Great question. So how it works, you're back to that expression, expert assistant. You would expect your assistant to be able to work on the same files, data, and information that you work on. And that's exactly how it works, how it's set up. So if you work in payroll, then you will have access to your boss's salary and payroll data because you need that. If you work in engineering department, then probably not. So it's entirely dependent on your user access permissions, which is very much an IT thing and not really an AI thing. So it's something that needs to be kind of audited and ensured that is all correct before Copilot or indeed any other enterprise AI tool is rolled out. With regard to the second part, it's if you think of it as contained via to use I'm going to use a bit of IT jargon here by tenant, but that basically means person. Then that's how it works. So your conversations certainly cannot, as was sort of the question there, cannot be seen by the colleague working next to you, cannot even be seen by IT, cannot be seen by Microsoft, and cannot be seen by anybody on the internet. And that's that's just de facto. That's how it is. So whilst IT can quite rightly see what's called metadata, so they'll know like how many hours a day you've been on Copilot. That's obviously a positive thing for business metrics and seeing the use of Copilot throughout the organization and so on. But no way can they or your colleagues actually see the files or the conversations that you've been having within the Copilot environment or indeed any of the apps that you're using.
Thanks, Jonathan. And I've got one here. I believe this was when we were doing Excel one. What precautions are to be taken while editing the initial data after the summaries are created by Copilot?
Say that one again.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand. What precautions are to be taken while editing the initial data after the summaries are created? Oh, so maybe if you then go back and
Okay.
change the source, possibly that
Yeah, I
means
think I know
what will
what's been
happen.
got at there. Yeah, I think the point there is that it's, and we will cover this actually in you mentioned the prompting session, some best practice on prompting. So quite simply, quality of input is dramatically going to affect quality of output. So for sure, you want to make sure that the data is pretty clean and organized, and likewise the information, because otherwise that is going to impact the response. So in simple terms, then yes, yeah.
And the last, oh, I said it was the last one. I think it's the last one. This is more of a comment. I don't know the person's details because it's anonymous and I don't know the sort of legal standing of it, but I think it's just to tell everyone.
I've just read that.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
not
know.
aware of that. And seeing as it's been made anonymous, I don't think we need to go there.
It's hard to give people legal advice, and
Yeah.
this is not what this
Yeah.
training session is for, but
Yeah.
thank you. Is it possible to link a rational database? Oh, sorry,
Relational
relational. Sorry,
database.
sorry.
I don't know is the answer. Can't answer that one. I don't know.
Okay. And re-logging of conversations. Are the conversations not recorded in Exchange? Again, this is from
Yes.
Microsoft.
The conversations in terms of the metadata, as in who's had the conversations and at what time, but not the conversations or the files contained within them. as stated before. But thanks, Phil, for that one. Yeah.
So yeah, maybe we'll do a separate security. We can get some legal
Yeah, it
people
seems to be a lot of interest about
yeah, the
security,
security side of
GDPR, and
it.
privacy. So that sounds like a really good idea. Yeah.
But thank you very much, Jonathan. Lots of really practical uses and examples there for us
You're
to
welcome.
try. Thank you very much for everyone joining us today. We hope that you're going to join us on our next one, which is on the 24th of June. And that will be a bit more about cybersecurity and awareness. So that'll be really interesting, but also how the cyber criminals are using AI to try and catch us out as well, I believe.
Yeah, we'll discuss, but maybe we could actually widen that one to the subjects we're talking with, the main sort of subject of interest today, data security, privacy, confidentiality, GDPR. Perhaps we can widen the
Yeah,
cybersecurity one
I
to
think
cover that.
that's
So
interesting
we can
topic.
discuss and decide. Yeah.
So any other questions, we can definitely ask your IT support, the person who invited you to this event. They'll be able to pass any more questions to us, or probably be able to answer quite a few as well. So we hope to see you on the 24th of June. Look out for the invitation. And thank you everybody for attending. And thank you very much, Jonathan, for teaching us everything there.
Welcome. Thanks very much, Cassandra. Thanks everyone for coming.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye for now. Bye. Bye.
Bye.